Today's episode of The Driving Kick is brought to you by Amparo Art. Selected paintings from some of the most impressive collections from emerging and established artists in the Mid-Atlantic, New England, and Dallas-Fort Worth regions are now for sale. Their unique styles come in a variety of forms: vibrant abstracts that can fill a room, still lives depicting floral and fauna, and playful geometric pieces that make an image come to life. Our family-run business is here to help you make your house into a home. Visit amparoart.com. That's AMPAROART.com to learn more. You're listening to The Driving Kick. What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Driving Kick. We're recording this on a Sunday night where I feel like things are just very messy right now. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing good, Kev. Today's a good day. My house is decorated for Christmas. Feel good about that. Thanksgiving's coming up. I'm hosting. So I'm branching out, Kev. I've been taking some breaks from watching the Sixers, enjoying some other basketball that's not the Sixers. So all's good, man.
Let me just say that first off, that I am very offended that you would already have Christmas decorations up, as I am very solidly in the faction of people that refuses to acknowledge Christmas until Thanksgiving happens.
It's all about what makes you happy. It's all about what makes you happy. In a world where it's hard to be happy, let's put Christmas lights up in November.
And just one more thing before we hop in. I was in the Doylestown, PA. Shout out Grady and Kate, where we took a trip to New Hope, Pennsylvania. A very lovely area. However, when I parked and I paid for parking, 2 hours, with 15 minutes left on my meter, I was given a parking ticket.
Unbelievable.
I think they knew about my Sixers hatred and they targeted me. And you know what? Because of that, the New Hope, Pennsylvania Parking Authority is banned from this podcast. You'll never be let on.
I would also like to say that the Philadelphia Parking Authority is also terrible. They haven't done anything to hurt me recently, but they've hurt me in the past. So way to take a stand, Kevin.
With that, should we hop right in?
Yeah, let's talk about basketball.
Yeah, so today we've been discussing this for a bit. We want to go through and give you some of our all blank teams of the NBA. Some more serious, some shall we say a little more creative. I think for the first one, we're going to start off where I think we're 15, 16 games, depending on your team, into the season. We're going to start off with our current selections for the All NBA first team. Joe, who you got?
I have a man who hates Wells Fargo Center employees, Giannis Antetokounmpo. That was just a ridiculous feud between him and Montrezl.
That in there.
I have Luka Doncic. I have Jason Tatum. Kevin Durant.
Ooh.
And one Joel Embiid.
Oh, come on.
Let me tell you, let me defend myself before you get mad at me.
Yeah, of course. Hey, do your thing.
Joel Embiid to start the season was dreadful. I would say he had four to five dreadful games.
Sure.
But let me tell you, man, he really woke up. I've seen him, like, he is so much more engaged defensively. He's still slow to on closeouts on shooters, but he's always been that way. But defensively, he looks like himself. Offensively, he looks like himself. When he's hitting his mid-range shot, I mean, he's just unbelievable. And right now, they lost a tough one last night, which they were short Maxey, Harden, and Harris. But he is dragging this dreadful team right now. I mean, they're 500 right now. The team itself, they beat just in the last week, they beat Utah, they beat Phoenix, they beat Milwaukee, they beat Atlanta. Literally only because of Joel Embiid. The team itself still, granted, it's incredibly hurt, it's incredibly short. I think Embiid after the first 4 games just has looked like himself, and he's been incredible. He's also like he still turns the ball over a lot, but I feel like court vision wise, I mean, he's made some awesome passes. He's not quite Jokic level yet with his passing, obviously.
Not quite.
Not quite. But overall, I think he should at least, and it might be whatever, look, man, it might be a homer pick, but I think the way he's played over the last 2 weeks has been awesome, and they need every bit of it because the team itself is so injured, and we'll get into the Maxey and Harden stuff later, but I mean, he has the highest usage percentage in the league along with Doncic. Doncic and Embiid are tied for the highest usage rate.
Which is actually crazy because all the talk about isolation basketball is only involves Luka. Now, obviously, he isolates so much more than Embiid, just given the position and having the ball in your hands. But I honestly haven't looked at the usage stats in the NBA, and I had no idea Embiid's was that high. I know it was very high last year. It's he's an incredible player, so obviously it's going to be high. But I didn't realize it was tied for first.
I'm telling you, man, I watch him every night. He is dragging them. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that 59-point game with the 8 assists, the 7 blocks. I mean, that's a ridiculous game.
It was like 59, 11, 7, and 7. Like
just insane.
And absolutely. The worst part is they won the game by like 3. They need every bit like
they were losing for a lot of it.
Yeah, no, they're literally the only reason they're even sniffing 500 right now is because he's been incredible. And they're gonna I'll get to do the Sixers thing later, but they're gonna need it, man, because they're pretty short right now.
So I have 3 of the same guys as you. I have Luka, I have Tatum, and I have Giannis.
Really quick.
Yes.
I think Durant's playing incredible.
Oh, of course. He's playing fantastic.
Yeah.
First team is such a bloodbath every year.
Yeah.
Especially right now. It seems like everyone's scoring 30 a game. I mean, it's crazy. But what I will say is we both have Luka, we both have Tatum, we both have Giannis. Our last 2 are different. I'm putting Giannis at center in this scenario. Okay. Can I just read you a stat line? Just a season average currently for a player, Yams.
Okay.
32, 7, and 7 on 53% from the field, 44% from 3 on 12 threes a game, and 91% from the free throw line. That's Steph Curry right now. Steph Curry is a flamethrower on this garbage Warriors team. I think they'll be better, but right now they're trash. And he's putting up a 70% true shooting rate, being an absolute flamethrower. No teams can guard him. He's putting up 50-point games in Warriors losses. That's some prime Bradley Beal stuff right there. But I can't, for me, has to be on my first team All NBA because I think he's been the best. I think he's been the best guard in the league by a pretty healthy margin. It's him and Luka. If you want to put Luka at guard, I'm putting Luka at forward in this scenario.
Positions don't matter, Kevin.
They don't matter, but they kind of matter.
Yeah.
For the All NBA vote.
Yeah. No, that matters for this. I just like hate it. And I agree. It's I just forget about Steph because like that Warriors team is such a brutal watch. I watched him the other night. It was like battle of teams I hate. It was Warriors Knicks, and I was like, the Warriors played awesome that game. Just the shots were falling, but
the heck out of them.
Yeah, well, dude, everyone beat the Knicks. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's a good way to look at it. Steph's certainly worthy of being there.
And then my last guy, which given he was recently hurt, I'm not actually sure how long he's out for. I have to double check that. But my last guard position, I'm right now, I want to give it to Ja. He's putting up 29 a game, 29, 6 and 7. he's hitting 39% of his threes, not like a ton of attempts, but 5 attempts a game. So I don't know. I really don't know how sustainable that is. But right now, he's hands down the most entertaining player in the league. The Grizzlies are, what are they? They're second in the West. I mean, they're one of the better West records, and it's in large part because of him, obviously. So he's the guy that I brought in that last position, but the guy I wanted to list there, and I couldn't get there, was SGA. He
Yeah, it's
is
tough. It's tough putting a guy on such a bad team on this list.
exactly, and they're honestly like their record isn't like the Rockets or the Lakers. Like they're bad, but they're
For
not
the
that bad.
Lakers.
But like what SGA did to my Wiz the other day, 42, I think, took over in the third, had like 15 in the third. I mean, he was the best player on the court by far the best player on the court. We couldn't guard him.
He's a
He has
stud.
he's just so good. Not first team good, but I needed to give him a shout out just because I love that guy.
Yeah, SGA's been he's been unbelievable. It sucks. So you're going to talk about Morant. Morant was part of the dreaded ankle injury night. I feel like all in one night. It was Jaw, Maxi, and then it wasn't a foot or ankle, but Lillard hurt too, which those are three big injuries to pretty important
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah, it did seem like a lot of. I was kind of. Wasn't watching the games up in Doylestown, so I missed. I just didn't watch any of this weekend
A
until
lot of big
today,
injuries in the league, yeah.
and my phone was just blowing up with X player injured 3 to 4 weeks. I feel like every single one's 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think it looks like Lillard is the shortest timeline, but you know how it is with these guys. They always get pushed. So
Yeah. So okay, well, there's our first team All NBA currently. Obviously, that's going to change as the season goes on. But I want to toss it over to you to introduce our next team because I this is a Joey Yams like classic.
hmm So let's talk about the first team all slop. Now you may ask, what is slop? It's hard to describe. It's mostly an eye test thing. So we are a little bit of a spoiler alert. We're going to talk about chuckers in the NBA, just guys who chuck up shots unconsciously. Being a slop king is not the same as being a chucker. A slop king is more so a gut feeling. It's a guy who's out there dribbling between his legs, behind the back, spinning around just to kick it off his foot and have it go out of bounds. A guy who's gonna dribble in circles for 15 seconds and then shoot a fadeaway long two that hits the front of the rim. It's just
Mm.
slop is just basketball that makes you so mad to watch because there is literally no scheme, no thought, no effort to make anyone around you better. It's just
Hmm.
turnover. I guess the most objective way I could say slop is turnover heavy, poor shot, turnover and poor shot heavy basketball. Like poor possessions. But the problem is these slop guys make enough of those poor shots that makes them want to keep doing it. Do you feel like that's a fair assessment
I,
of
I
slop?
yeah, that's kind of the gut. Like when we're talking slop team, and by the way, just in case everyone can't hear, it's SLOP, slop, like sloppy. When I'm thinking that, like that's more or less what I'm feeling like a clumsy guy. It doesn't even mean they're a bad player,
No.
but they're just like they're doing these boneheaded mistakes, and
But
just
they think they're cool enough to like dribble between the legs all the time.
yeah, they're doing things that just I don't know, epitomize like you watch it and you go, yep, that's some slop.
I have a guy on the slop list that I'm curious what your face is gonna be like when I read this.
You
All
want
right.
to start us off?
I'll lead it off because I love this category. We have one, James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like James Harden is the ultimate slop king.
I couldn't agree more.
Um, I have Russell Westbrook,
Fair,
Jalen Green,
fair.
D'Angelo Russell,
I have that one.
and Bradley Beal.
I have Brad Beal as well.
Listen, man, I'm not even a Wizards fan, and I've seen Bradley Beal dribble the ball off his foot and hit and proceed to the next possession, like take a fadeaway, like long two that hits the front of the rim so many times that I'm like, this guy's like, I rip on Harden for being a slop king, but I'm like, Brad Beal, you're a slop king.
It's really bad. Like again, hey, Brad's one of my favorite players of all time. He's so talented. What he did in 2019, 2020, and yeah, was truly special. But I swear there's 3 to 4 times a game where he will just dribble the ball, maybe some mild pressure, and he'll just lose it, and it's just gone. Or he'll be walking and he'll just slip and fall. It's like
The shot
watching.
choice too is like,
Yeah, it's just it's tough with him because he can be so smooth. Well, he'll get someone in like the mid range and hit like a little 15-foot step back, nothing but net, and then he'll follow it up, just basically throwing the ball out of bounds. I I don't know. I feel like it's Westbrook's fault. I'm blaming Westbrook. I feel like he wasn't as sloppy before Russ got here.
all right, who else you got?
So I have Embiid. I feel like Embiid deserves to be on that. And the feeling for me with Embiid is a lot of the flopping, the stumbling over himself. He ends up on the ground, which is a little bit different than kind of the slop that Harden or Beal does. But I needed a center, and
I
for
will
me,
say, Embiid, I think deserves to be on this list too, because sometimes Joel just thinks he is Lillard, and he's gonna dribble into like 2 defenders or try to bring the ball up. Or just look at he probably averaging 7 turnovers a game. So no, listen, Joel, my favorite athlete of all time. I adore the man. I would cut off my toe for the man, but he's a slop guy. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was between him and Karl Anthony Towns, but I didn't even want to. I don't even want to talk Karl Anthony Towns, so
Yeah, I can't.
I left him off.
Towns doesn't even deserve the slop
He
list.
doesn't even deserve the slop list. I'm very anti Towns. But the last guy who I list and could very well make it onto the team that we talk about after this um, is the one and only Julius Randle, maybe my least favorite player in the entire NBA to watch. I cannot stand him at all. At all.
I agree.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, there's not even like,
he literally like Randall. Ever since he went to the Knicks and had one, like he had one a couple, not even a good season. He had a couple good months. He had a good regular season.
he was second team All NBA and then
He had a
bottom
good
out in
regular
the
season.
playoffs.
But he reverted back to his slop form in the playoffs. He like sometimes thinks he's Durant. Like I see him like dribbling out the top of the key, shooting step back threes. I'm like, what do you think you're doing? Like, just go bang in the post.
If I was a Knicks fan and had to knew I was going to be watching Julius Randle step back threes for the next 4 years, I don't know what I would do with myself.
That's
Like
brutal.
that's in a lot of ways, that's more depressing than the never ending mediocrity that it is to be a Wizards fan. I can't if I had Julius Randle on the Wizards, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I,
So,
I would die.
uh,
All right, you
okay.
want to introduce the chuckers? What exactly is a chucker, Kevin? Let's hear it.
It's the epitome of a chucker. The best way I can describe it is that classic Kobe quote. They don't call it a passing guard. They call it a shooting guard. And it's at the end of the day, it's someone that just lets it fly. And again, that does not mean they're a bad player, but man, they've never met a jump shot that they didn't like. The one that maybe some people would disagree with off the top of my list, but I have to list them. Trae Young. Trae Young is second in the league in field goal attempts, and he's shooting 38%. That guy's talented. That guy's a great passer. That man loves nothing more than to take terrible above the break threes. And he just launches them. Then I also have Jalen Green, who I believe was a member of your slop team, because that's another guy.
He's a slop guy, yeah.
He just launches it, loves to shoot. Anthony Edwards, shocker. He did have a very good game the other day after a pretty slow start to the season. But obviously, it's tough when you're playing with 2 centers. Then Terry Rozier, and finally the one and only Kristaps Porzingis. I watched him miss 5 threes before we started this podcast, and that really solidified him in my list as a bona fide chucker.
This is a good list. We got some overlap here.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, I don't have the field goal percentages pulled up for them. So when I name a guy, I might want you to pull up their field goal percentage because I went on gut feeling here. But
Sure.
I trust my gut. I think it led me some good answers.
Okay.
Number 1, Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
This
Chucker.
guy, I feel like I've seen this guy take more shots and miss more shots than like anybody in the NBA. Like this guy thinks he's Steph.
I hate his form too. He doesn't like flick his wrist. It's weird. I'm not a big Dylan Brooks guy.
No, Dylan Brooks, yeah, not a fan of his.
Shooting 41% on twos, by the way. Dylan Brooks. Ooh.
I have Jordan Clarkson on the list.
Mm-hmm. He's a chucker.
He's actually shooting pretty well this season. I don't know his exact numbers, but this dude lets it fly. So I also had Trae Young, although next to Trae Young, I put a little parentheses and I have an honorable mention. So since you mentioned Trae Young, I'm going to name the one and only Clank Thompson.
Hey, Clank is balling out tonight. Clank had 18 in the first quarter on 6 for 6 shooting.
He might get his field goal percentage up in the 40s now.
But man, is he a chucker.
I have Terry Rozier overlap there. And did you mention this? I have Tim Hardaway Jr.
Oh, that's a good one. I wasn't even thinking of Tim Hardaway Jr.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is let's see what he's shooting this season. I feel like he's got to be shooting. God, Hardaway is shooting. I think he's shooting like 37%. He's having a rough go.
Well, it's like, I mean, him and Clay are the epitome of just like, I don't pass the basketball.
Really quick update on Tim Hardaway Jr. He's shooting 33%.
Oh my God.
33% on the field, and he's taking a lot of shots per game. He's taking oh my goodness. He's taking 11 shots per game and he's shooting 33%. So and he's shooting it from twos 39%.
No,
I'm sorry. 35%, even more.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, that's awful.
Someone save Luka Doncic from this team.
I like the fact that the Mavs are actually a decent team despite losing to the Wizards without Bradley Beal. Like the fact that they're decent is crazy. It's a testament to how good Luka is. I think I saw something. He was like the current favorite in the MVP ladder. But they're 9-6. Like that, 9-6 with Luka having like a 45% usage or whatever it is. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, he's dragging them.
So let's see. Okay. Our next team. It's the all gamer team. Now, I'm interested to see if we have the same interpretation of gamer.
Okay. Well, want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
So I interpret it as video game guys.
Okay.
Is that what you meant? Oh my God.
You go.
I thought you meant all gamer, dude. Like gamer boys.
This is your idea.
Yeah, gamer. I meant like video game.
And that makes total sense. I took it as a classic, the type of person you would hear talking shit on Call of Duty.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
But not in terms of they play video games, just in terms of they say wild stuff.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have overlap on our list despite our interpretations. So okay. I thought of it as like guys who are just literally at home with the headset on behind the computer screen, like an inch away from the computer screen, like get the trigger finger going on the controller. So
yeah.
I have Simmons, Towns, Gordon Hayward, Paul George, and Josh Hart.
I feel like those are the big five.
It's the big five.
Like I can't think of another guy that plays video games more than those guys.
De'Aaron Fox is a gamer.
Is he? That makes sense. But if I'm thinking of like video game playing NBA players, it's definitely those guys. I feel like those guys have some of the bigger personas, I guess, when it comes to video games, like publicly playing them. Everyone, I mean, obviously everyone knows Ben Simmons, Karl Anthony Towns. That's like a very big thing. But there was all those memes about Gordon Hayward playing LOL like a few years ago. Um, so I think that makes sense. So I interpreted gamer as people that would be on the other side of Xbox Live saying crazy stuff to you. And a lot of times, very offensive, very terrible. A lot of people our age grew up with that. So my all gamer team was Kyrie. Don't need to say anything about that. Jaylen Brown, big supporter of Kyrie. Anthony Edwards, for some of the comments he made this offseason that got him in trouble. Derrick Rose, for telling people that don't believe in him to kill themselves. And finally, Montrezl Harrell, one for what he said to poor Giannis Antetokounmpo, but mostly because he called Luka Doncic a bitch-ass white boy in the bubble. And I can't think of anything that's more Xbox Live related than calling someone a bitch-ass white boy. So
That's a good
no
list.
overlap.
That's a good list. Montrezl Harrell actually does stream a little bit. He streams like GTA or something ridiculous like that.
You know, that makes sense because people that forget how to play basketball in the Sixers do tend to be really into video games.
He is.
So
That's so funny. All right, what do we got next?
let's give everyone our all haircut team.
Okay, I don't have a full 5 guys. I have 4 guys for this.
Okay, give me your 4. I got a full list.
I have Robin Lopez, Steven Adams, Kelly Olynyk, Montrezl Harrell.
Ooh, I love Robin Lopez and Steven Adams' hair. It's crazy, but I'm a big fan. We definitely have Kelly Olynyk in common. That hair is
That's
disgusting,
awful.
like
Doesn't
so
look
bad,
good.
especially his goatee. He needs to shave his goatee. I don't know what he's doing. But what I have besides that, Trae Young, terrible hair. It's the classic lollipop rolled in hair picture. Kendrick Williams, who I can't tell if I love his haircut or hate his haircut. He has like a fro with almost into like a mullet with
He
like
has rough hair.
low at the back. It's very unique. I haven't seen anything like it. Um Reggie Bullock's hair is truly awful. Um just do yourself a favor and Google picture if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's not great. And then finally, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant just needs to shave. He needs to shave his head. What's the I'm not, I'm not even gonna bring it up. But there are some very funny comments about NBA players on Kevin Durant's hair. It's just patchy. He has patchy hair, which is like, hey, that happens, but shave your head. Shave your head.
You gotta commit
So,
to it.
okay. How about the all fake stats team?
This is a fun one. You can leave this one off.
Sure. So I have Russell Westbrook,
Wait,
obviously.
really quick. Actually, let's go back. So how do you define fake stats?
For me, fake stats is if you're a box score reader, you're gonna look at the box score and be like, this guy must just be lighting the world on fire. Like, oh my God, he must be so good. He's putting up all these numbers. And in my opinion, it's just not when you watch it, when you actually see him contribute, it's just not a one-to-one. And I will say one of my selections, because I struggled a little bit with the last guy, and this selection is more of a historical argument than a recent one because he has actually been very good recently. And that, just to spoil it, is Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's been unbelievable for the Trailblazers, and they're going above expectations. But Jeremy Grant to me is just the epitome of someone that puts up numbers on bad teams without really winning. Now, obviously, he played for the Nuggets and contributed there. He seems to be doing well for the Trailblazers, but I don't feel like he's actually as good as the numbers suggest. And then my other answers for this question, we have 2 Rockets in Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. That's not to say that they won't be talented because they're very young, or not talented. They won't be good because they're very young. But when you look at their box scores, you're like, oh my God, look at all these things they're doing. And I just don't think it really has that, the positive effect on winning basketball. And that's obvious based on their terrible record. And then my last two being the all-time great fake stats player in Russell Westbrook, and another mention of my least favorite basketball player in the NBA, Julius Randle.
Yeah, that's a good list. I thought of it a little bit, not differently, but like some of my fake stats guys aren't blowing the world away with their numbers. Like you were mentioning, like you were looking at guys who are dropping like 30 a night and stuff like that. Some of my guys are like a little bit more role players, but like the same thing, like the style of basketball they play isn't like what contributes to winning.
Yeah.
So I don't you didn't mention this. I have De'Aaron Fox on this list.
Hey, these Kings, they're coming
they're
alive
playing well
now.
right now, but
they're trying to save our Kings playoff prediction pick.
And I have another King in there. I have Malik Monk. I have Russell Westbrook. Nothing needs to be more said about that, right? Like triple double king, like who cares?
All-time stat matter.
Triple double and like he's like a -11. I have RJ Barrett in there. I just can't stand watching RJ Barrett play basketball. And here's an interesting little homer one I threw in there because a lot of people who aren't Sixers fans think this guy's awesome. And that's one Shake Milton. And he's going to get a lot of run. He's going to get a lot of run right now because of the Maxey injury and the Harden injury. And he's going to score like 25 a night and have like 4 assists, but then you're going to watch him play and you're like, oh, this guy. So that's mine.
I thought you were going to say, all-time guy having a incredible season with the Sixers, PJ Tucker, with his third straight 0 point on 0 shot game of the year.
PJ Tucker, you can't say fake stat guy because he doesn't have stats. He's literally just out there doing cardio. If you asked me this question a year or 2 years ago, I probably would have said Donovan Mitchell, but I've like done a 180 on Mitchell, and I'm like,
yeah.
I used to think he was like fake stats, score 30 on 30 shots guy, but now I watch him and like, I don't know, man. He's a stud. Big Mitchell fan now. I've done a 180. I've learned and grown as a person, so big.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. He's come a little bit back to earth, which is expected.
Yeah,
and the Cavs went from the best defensive team in the first bit of the season to recently during this losing streak, the worst defensive team. Part of that's, Jarrett Allen being hurt, but he's still. I mean, I'm still I still think Mitchell is great.
Yeah.
So,
want to do 2 more?
Yeah, let's do it.
How about I wish they played for my team in trade block.
Okay, yeah, those are good ones. Yeah, let's start off with the all I wish they played for my team. For me, I thought about this in like obviously I'm not like I would love for Giannis and Luka and Steph and all these players to play for my team, but that kind of defeats the purpose of this category. So I went with role players, guys that are role players to maybe a borderline all-star type of player, but they don't have that star recognition by any stretch of the imagination. So first off, Steven Adams. I would love to just have a big screen setter that can get rebounds. I think he leads the league in offensive rebounds per game. I would just like to have a big, strong wizard for once in my life. Actually, that once in my life is a stretch because we had Gortat. But I would just love to have a big, strong wizard on this team to kind of create some separation on screens for our guys because we just don't have that. And if I have to watch one more Daniel Grafford moving screen, I'm going to lose my mind. That's one. Then I also want Desmond Bane, who my dad was shouting from the rooftops that the Wizards should have drafted instead of Corey Kispert. I would love Mikal Bridges on my team, just all-time glue player. He's playing unbelievably well right now. Maybe the best defensive wing in the league. He can score in a variety of ways. He's good. He's the best 3-and-D player, in my opinion, in the NBA. Would love him. Also, freakishly long arms. If you've never seen how long his arms are, do yourself a favor, Google his arms. And then the last two, Tyus Jones, best backup point guard in the NBA, and Lou Dort, on just a bulldog, defensive, 3-point shooting guy. Would love him.
I love this list because actually we got some overlap, but I do want to say I think Lou Dort sucks. I think he sucks.
I like Lou Dort.
Let me tell you, Kev, we have the same brain, man. I was like, this is stupid just to say Giannis Durant. Let's get a little more creative, borderline all-star guys. I have Mikal Bridges, and in a parentheses, I wrote Payne because Sixers drafted Mikal Bridges. Just traded him for a first-round pick and Zaire Smith. But Zaire Smith didn't work out, but they also used that first-round pick in the Tobias trade. Whatever. Hate that. OG Anunoby is on my list.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Just a good one. Awesome, awesome two-way player. Like, could defend, could shoot, could dribble. I have Bojan Bogdanovic. Just love a guy who you have an open three and you can hit it. Haven't had one of those since Seth Curry.
Ex-Wizard.
I have Desmond Bane as well. And I have my favorite young point guard in the league, Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put Tyrese Halliburton on my list because it causes too much pain. It's gonna haunt our organization for decades and decades and decades. And I like Denny.
At least you didn't draft him and trade him on draft night.
I would have preferred that because at least we would have had the sense to draft him. Like
all right. Next list is trade block. These are guys that, like, if you go on Twitter, there's always like a Shams rumor about him or like a Woj rumor. Like, I don't know, guys have him in the trade machine.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, these guys are always getting thrown around. I think I might have 6 guys for this. I have Tobias Harris, currently in the rumor mill. I have John Collins, Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
Eric Gordon. Still in Houston, by the way.
And just having a terrible time.
Still in Houston. The last one there.
There's just videos of him on the bench just by himself, not even looking at his young, annoying teammates.
Somehow still there. I have then 2 Pacers. I have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. Those 2 are a package, though. Like, I can't separate them because it's always the Turner Hield package.
Yeah, I think those are the big ones in the league right now. I figured you would mention a couple of those guys at least, and you got all of them. So I just want to throw in a couple more that I was thinking of. D'Angelo Russell being one. Ever since the playoffs last year with the Timberwolves collapse, he's been in rumor mills constantly. But on the downside, he kind of stinks, and they have no picks to trade because they traded everything for Rudy Gobert. Then I also did Dylan Brooks, who gets floated around a decent much just because he's a little bit redundant on this hard-nosed Memphis team. There's guys that personally I would rather give his minutes to. And then lastly, Gordon Hayward, because I think the Hornets are going to end this year in complete free fall, just praying to get Wembanyama or Scoot or Amin Thomas or any of those guys. I just don't know what Gordon Hayward's trade value is. I really don't. He's such a tough sell because of his injury history, but I still think he's talented. So
I would probably take Gordon Hayward over Tobias for the Sixers.
You would take Gordon over Tobias?
I think so.
I can, in terms of like playing one game, I could see that because he gives you guys some off-ball playmaking.
Yeah.
But I just don't trust him to play even 55 games. So okay, well, with that though, that's some of our quick lists that we tossed together. For this, just have a little bit of fun on today's podcast. But before we go, I think we want to touch on just a couple more things Starting off, of course, with your Philadelphia 76ers. So take it away, Joe.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say on them. I mean, it's just like it's a bummer. I'm not I haven't been like angry watching recently. I'm just more so like I don't know. It's a bummer. Like I love Tyrese Maxey. I love John Moran. Just like it sucks like when young guys get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Sixers are gonna have a really hard time holding down the fort until Maxey and Harden are back. I do want to say I have a theory that
Okay.
I think Tobias is getting traded soon. And I'm going to tell you why.
Please.
The Sixers last week they played a game on Sunday. Tobias was healthy. I think he played pretty well. I have to look at the stats, whatever. 4 days off. No game Monday, no game Tuesday, no game Wednesday, no game Thursday. No game. No, they played Saturday. I'm sorry. Then they were off Sunday through Friday. That's an insane amount of time to be off in the regular season.
Yeah,
Insane.
unheard of.
Unheard of. And then on Twitter, some like Shams and Woj tweets get leaked. Like Tobias Harris's like names getting floating around, a bunch of trade calls. Literally like 20 minutes after that, Tobias Harris goes on the injury report as, I don't know, game time decision, sore left hip. And he proceeds to miss the Sixers back-to-back. He missed the Bucks game, which by miracle the Sixers won, where Maxey got hurt. And he missed the following game against Minnesota. Just very strange to get not to have 4 days off, not be injured, and just get thrown on the injury report as soon as the rumors get leaked. So I'm like, maybe something's close, and they're like, don't play him. We're going to trade him. I thought he was going to be traded this weekend, man. I was like, it's happening. It's happening. This was it. And then, I don't know. I guarantee my theory is going to be like something like, I don't know. He'll probably just be playing again on Tuesday against the Nets. But
maybe they're putting together a package to get Westbrook.
But oh my God. Well, tell me I'm not crazy for that theory. Like, I feel like there's.
So on one hand, I can totally see that. I feel like that makes sense. I mean, he's, besides Westbrook, maybe the MVP of all, like the all trade team guy. But on the other hand, I also feel like you get yourself all worked up about, firing Doc, or maybe they're going to trade this guy, and maybe a little bit ahead of yourself. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've been off the fire Doc train recently because like Doc, it's just right now it's not his fault. Right now he's running rotations like yesterday's game. He was short 3 starters and was like, there's only so much a coach could do with like your rotations with that, man. Like, and overall, I think the Sixers have been playing better. It's just like now it's just a matter of like weathering the storm with the talent they have, not necessarily. So I've been pleasantly surprised with seeing they're competing defensively. It's just like they're so short, like they're so thin when you're missing 3 guys, and particularly Harden and Maxey. Like Tobias' skill set is totally redundant for this team. They don't miss him that much, but like when you're down 2 other starters, you do miss having the guys. So
yeah, and he is good enough where if they're missing 2 starters, he is good enough to put the ball in his hands and do his 2010 Carmelo.
No, he could do that, and it's sometimes you need that. So
yeah,
I don't know, just bum for Maxey. Love the guy. Hopefully he's back in a couple weeks.
Well, I would just also be remiss if I didn't bring up that stat that I think we both saw this week, where the Sixers are on average the shortest team, but also the heaviest team in the league, or something like that.
I didn't see that stat.
Yeah, they're like, I can't remember what it was exactly. It's like they're the shortest and the 5th heaviest, or something like that, which just means they're fat. They're the fattest team in the league. That's what it means.
Let me tell you, man, PJ Tucker's out there trying to drop that stat because he's running hardcore cardio. I've never seen a player with less of an interest in shooting a basketball. And I watched Ben Simmons for years. Like he's just out there like as soon as he gets, I was told so many things about him. And like I understand teams like kind of try to run him off the line. He's not really open in the corner anymore, but like, come on, man. 3 straight games with 0 points is insane. And he plays 30 minutes a night. But
he plays 30 minutes a night and he averages 3 shots a game.
It's crazy. Simmons is like a chucker compared to this guy. It's wild.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, we can finish up on the best team in this weird Western Conference. You
Yeah,
want to do
because
that?
the East is everyone's like, barring some other team like figuring out Celtics and Bucks.
Yeah, it's a two-horse race. Everyone knows that. Um, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I thought the Celtics with the drama surrounding oh, what's his name? The coach.
Udoka, yeah,
Thank you.
they're just too
Like
good.
I thought that was going to take away from things, even though I loved all of their off-season moves before that. So I got in my own way on that one. But yeah, in the West, it's close. I mean, we had Dan Hamilton coming on last week telling us about uh Jazz futures or Pelicans futures, and I'm definitely not there with him, but it shows how up and down this Western Conference is, and how, hey, maybe this is the time where the league is finally, or the East is finally better than the West. So I personally have a choice. I have a team for my best, for the best team in the West. I don't feel great about it. I feel very much like the Michael Scott scene where he goes, "I am ready to be hurt again," because my team is the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are 9-6, and they are missing three starters. They are missing Jay Crowder because he just doesn't want
He's
to
not
be
coming
there
back
anymore.
though.
They're missing Cam Johnson, who blew out his knee, and he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, which is a bummer because I love Cam Johnson. And they were missing Chris Paul for a good chunk of this season so far, and they're making it up with a campaign renaissance and some incredible play from Mikal Bridges and, of course, Devin Booker. And that's not even accounting for the fact that DeAndre Ayton, we're both we have vocalized our bullish opinions on DeAndre Ayton, thinking he's going to be very good. He's been pretty trash. And so I think at some point they have to get things going again. And considering they're already beating teams besides the Sixers, I think they're pretty solid. Not to mention they lost 2 games on buzzer beaters. So they very easily could have a better record than they currently do now.
Interesting. Yeah, listen, man, it's tough to pick a team that I feel like the Sixers always dog the Suns. I'm like, they can't be that good.
The
Just
curse of
jokes
Dario
aside.
Saric.
I want to so badly pick the Suns. Because everything you're saying I completely agree with. They're down, like you said. Well, it's weird because like it's not like Jay Crowder's a starter who's coming back. Like he's just not going to play there. So there's uncertainty with that. But they're missing Chris Paul. Cam Johnson's a huge piece. I just like can't get myself to believe in them though. I'm not a Booker guy. I do love Chris Paul, but like Aiton's been so bad.
So bad.
I've been burned by the Suns, no pun intended, so many times. I've bet on them to win the West. Like I think for the last like 3 seasons, it's like I can't get myself to believe in them. I really think this is like the hipster pick, but I'm gonna pick the Grizzlies. I love the Grizzlies so much. As long as they're healthy, I mean Morant's injury is not that serious, but I'm a big fan of theirs. I think that they have like the shooting, the athleticism. I love Jaren Jackson Jr. So it's a hipster pick, but I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies. I don't believe in anyone else in the West.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough thing for me. Like, the reason I picked the Suns is because I just don't like my other options. But like that being said, if you're looking at the Western Conference right now, Sunday night, the top 7 teams all have 6 losses. All of them have 6 losses, and 8 and 9 have 7 losses. So it's everyone is neck and neck right there. So you're kind of trying to figure out like, okay, which of these teams that basically have the same record have the least reason, or like have the most to gain from people coming back because of injuries or people kind of figuring their things out. because obviously they're not all going to finish with basically the same record. I think the Jazz probably come back to earth. And then I think when Chris Paul kind of returns to form and DeAndre Ayton kind of figures his thing out, I think they're going to make another run. I don't think they're going to be a 60-win team, but I could totally see them, being a 55-win team this year and making it out of the West again. So
we'll see. I don't know. I don't believe in them, but
me neither. But
maybe
I
that's what they
don't
need.
have a lot of other options.
The West is so weird. Like, also, we both love. I love the Clippers before the year. The Clippers are just like the most boring team to watch in the NBA. It's like they don't even exist.
And even with that, they're 10-7. So it's like they have the same record as like every other Western team. And Kawhi was out for a while, but he still looks very rusty. John Wall, though. Hey, John Wall, 15 assists in like 20 minutes last night.
I feel like the Clippers are like, if we had this team list, they'd be like first team all sore right knee game time decision. It's like between Paul George and Kawhi and John Wall, it's like their knees are hanging on by the skin of their teeth.
It's bad, but hey, I still believe it. If they can get some games under their belt for the playoffs, I haven't given up hope on that being on our preseason Western pick and my preseason finals winning pick being completely garbage.
They're not going to reach their full potential until they free Robert Covington. Either trade him or play him. That's my stance here.
Oh, Rocco. Oh man, I would love Rocco on the Wizards, let me tell you.
Everybody would love Rocco. I hate the Clippers for not playing him. This is why I hate the Clippers now. You guys have this precious man. Play the man.
Oh my God. Well, on that note, do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm going to Sixers Nets, the Simmons homecoming on Tuesday. So,
that's gonna be so fun.
Hot take here. You heard it first. He's not going to play.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Not even a hot take. It's just like he's not going to play.
Yeah, I wonder what the odds would be on him playing right now.
I don't know, but oof. I think he'll be a game time decision, sore knee, and then he won't play. He'll be on the bench.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair in some very colorful outfit.
I'm worried the Sixers lose that game.
I would assume the Sixers are going to lose that game.
Yeah, especially without Maxey and Harden. It's like not enough guard play.
And Kyrie's coming back. So, well, on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. We always love having you guys chime in with any of your questions for our mailbag. If you have any mailbag questions or comments, please send them to thedriveandkick@gmail.com, and we'll make sure to bring them up on future pods. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and tune in next week for another episode of The Drive and Kick.
That's right. Go Sixers.